Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how to finish a guitar neck using tung oil. I feel like I said tung oil weird there. Anyway, yeah, we're going to be using tung oil. In fact, one of my very favorite products of all time for finishing, particularly for finishing necks, Mohawk's modified tung oil. So let's start by talking about why it's modified for a second. There are different kinds of tung oil out there. There's pure tung oil. Pure tung oil takes a lot of coats to build up. It builds up very slowly. It dries very slowly. It takes a very long time to do that. It's a wonderful product. I really like it. It's great for fretboards. And if you use it enough, it's great for like enough coats. It's great for finishing stuff. It gives a beautiful hue and everything. But it has its drawbacks, as I've said. So the modified tung oil is a little bit polymerized. It dries faster, it builds quicker and heavier, it's more durable, and yeah, it emulates a film finish a little bit more. Also, I don't know if this is deliberate or not, or if I'm just tricking myself, but I feel like the modified tung oil has a slightly darker hue to it, a slightly more honey or amber hue that I really appreciate. So it is one of my favorite neck finishes, and I like the modified tung oil better than the normal tung oil, which is why I get it by the gallon. Another great thing about it is it's also great for fretboards. So the normal tung oil, the pure tung oil rather, will soak in nicely, and you can re-up it every now and then. The modified tung oil, if you put a little bit of mineral spirit on it, or even if you use it straight, you don't have to redo it as often. It gives a little bit more of a finish almost, as opposed to just soaking in. You can apply this with a rag, which I'm going to use just a small piece of one here. You can also apply it with high grit sandpaper to create a bit of a slurry and fill in the grain. Now this is a maple neck, so I don't need to do that. The grain on this guy is nice and tight. So I'm just going to apply a few coats with a rag. And I'm also going to do the fretboard and give you guys a nice close look at what happens to this beautiful wood when I put that on it. Before we do that, why don't I just show you really quickly. This is a really nice fretboard. This is the Telecaster guitar kit from Solo Music Gear, which I think a lot of you guys have been following. It's the Ash Burl top one. It's looking beautiful. It actually has some tung oil in that finish as well. That'd be this one that's moving on into the flat sand and polish stages next. So anyway, I have done a video on neck finishing before. More than one, in fact. We've painted a bunch of necks on this channel using different methods. In my video on how to finish your neck, I use teak oil. I have recently started using tung oil. I like it better, but they're both good options. It just depends on your preference. Okay, seriously guys, if you've never played an oiled neck, you're gonna want to. You're gonna want to at least try it. For those of you who like to play fast in particular, oh, for Christ's sake. Odd that I made it this far without having to do this. If you haven't seen my video on how to deal with child-proof lids, that's how you deal with them. Anyway, if you haven't played an oiled neck, you're going to want to, especially for those of us who like to play fast. They are amazing. They are the best feeling necks out there, in my opinion. I don't particularly like playing a gloss neck. I find that my hand sticks. If I try and move it up and down the neck quickly, it's a pain. So oiled necks are my preference. Matte necks, semi-gloss necks, they're okay, but there's just something about a tung oiled neck. Let me show you the color of this. See, nice amber hue. It's less pronounced when it's thinner, so when it's on the actual piece, it's going to be less pronounced than that. Sorry for the autofocus here. But yeah, it is a really nice product, and it has a really nice color to it. So for starters here, I'm going to apply some on kind of the main part of the neck, and you can see the little bit of hue that it adds. Pretty subtle when it's going on this thin, and as you build it up, that hue gets more and more pronounced, and you start to get a more and more ambered look. But we want to apply this stuff in very light coats, particularly at the heel area. So I don't know if you can tell. We'll get closer and I'll show you guys the difference here. But particularly at the heel area where it's going into the neck pocket, you don't want to build up a whole lot of anything in this area because that's where the neck sits. If you're gluing in your neck, obviously you don't want to be finishing this part. you want to be gluing it in first. I'm going to get you guys in here closer so that you can see what happens when this stuff goes on, even to this very basic maple. So you can see the hue difference here, but we'll give you a more pronounced look at it here. See, even with a little bit on there, we're already starting to get a bit of a color change. This is similar after one coat to the color change that you would expect just from applying a coat of, say, nitrocellulose lacquer or something like that. But as we continue to build this, it's going to get slightly darker, and you can, in fact, if you want to, dissolve aniline dyes and stuff like that into your tung oil to make it even darker. It just requires a lot of stirring. Okay, so that's the gist of it. Let's get you a look at what happens to, I'm gonna have to fix this after because I'm putting it down while it's still wet. Let's give you a look at what happens to the fretboard. So when we put a little bit of this finish on the fretboard, it lubricates it like an oil does, but it also, like I said, acts a bit like a finish. I'll wipe off the excess right away just to give you an idea here. Look at that beautiful color. So this is, for me at least, the preferred fretboard oil as well. Now I know a lot of people have a lot of different preferences about that. Some use, stringed instrument oils. Some use wind instrument oils. I've actually had a few people say they use reed lubricant and stuff like that from brass instruments and a variety of things. And a lot of people use boiled linseed oil or lemon oil that is generally marketed as fretboard oil. It all comes down to personal preference, but for me, modified tung oil is my favorite. And you can use it thinned down a little bit, or in its raw form like this. Give it a moment to soak in. You can see it starts to dry out a little bit, and then come in and take off the excess. Can't complain about that. Well, that's all there is to it. You just apply a few. I'm gonna wait a few minutes and apply another coat on the back, and I'm gonna do that probably 5 times and then see if I have any issues with how it feels. You don't wanna build up too much, otherwise you're kind of defeating the purpose of using an oil finish anyway. So you get a lot of people who put like 10, 12, 15, 25 coats on there. I don't do that, but to each their own. I think that looks awesome. This is one of my favorite products, like I said. It doesn't smell very good, kind of like me after a rugby game, but if it wasn't toxic, I'd probably use it as beard oil. Not because I want to smell bad, just because I like it. Anyway, as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already so that you can see the rest of the guitar kit that this is going on. And if you did enjoy the video, I would appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. I will see you next time.